So we'll begin by speaking a little about the about bediqat hamess, checking for hamess. So some have the custom of placing 10 pieces of bread around the house before beginning the search. So my question is, what is the origin of this custom, and is this custom a requirement? So going back 800 years, the Rishonim, we see that they begin discussing this custom. The Ravad described it as a ma'aseh nashim, something that was just women developed it on their own. It's not something that has a rabbinic source. Similarly, the Orhot Hayim wrote that it's unnecessary. The Shibulei Haleket, an Italian authority, wrote that although in his opinion it's unnecessary, his brother, the Binyamin, who was also an authority, required it. Why? Because he's saying you're making a berakah of al biur hametz, upon getting rid of hametz. And everybody cleans their house very well leading up to the night of bediqat hametz, and in most cases no hametz is found. So that it won't be a berakah levatala, unnecessary berakah. So people put a little hametz so that they al biur hametz, they find some hametz and they get rid of that hametz. Others say, no, the berakah is upon getting rid of hametz. If I find any, if I don't find any, then I did takanat hachamim. Hachamim instituted a check and to make sure that there's none. I made sure that there's none. It's not a berakah levatala. So that's the different opinions. Now, if you look in Shulchan Aruch, Maran, Rabbi Yosef Karo does not mention the custom. However, Rabbi Moshe Israelish, known as Ramah, who records he appended notes to Shulchan Aruch, and he records all the Ashkenazic customs. So he writes that it was customary, but even he says that it's not required. There was a Hakam known as the Hakam Sevi. He was actually against the custom. He even ridiculed it. And so we see it's a controversial custom. Not everyone was for it. There were those that were actually against the custom. But the custom did become more popular in the Middle East after it was endorsed by the Arizal. The Ari was the master of Kabbalah, and Rabbi Yitzhak Luria. And when he endorsed it, the Sephardim, who were getting more involved in Kabbalistic studies, adopted it, and it was subsequently promoted in following generations by the Haida, Rabbi Chaim Yosef David Azulai, by Rabbi Chaim Kalachi. These were leading rabbis in the Middle East in their times. And when you look at the Keter Shem Tov, the Keter Shem Tov is a compendium of customs by Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin. It's written already in the 20th century, and he just lists it as the standard practice of Middle Eastern Jews to put 10 pieces of bread around the house. Now, one of the big objections that we find in the poskim is that people tend to just really look just for the 10 pieces, and then they don't check the house properly. Sometimes it becomes like hide and go seek. They hide the pieces, look for the pieces. They found the 10th piece, that's it, and the focus is just on the 10 pieces. Now, in Tunisia, in the early part of the 20th century, Rabbi Khalfon Moshe HaKohen, he was born in Shebah, that's an island off of Tunisia, and he wrote that one should instruct those who ask, if they ask, should I put the 10 or not put it, not to put the 10. Don't put the 10 pieces. And all the more so, he writes, that one should not publicly instruct everybody to put 10 pieces. Only those that are Kabbalistic, they observe all of the Kabbalistic traditions, they put 10 pieces, but that the original custom of the masses was not like the Mikubalim. It just caught on because everybody wanted to emulate the Mikubalim. So his conclusion was, Shebah ta'aseh adif. Whenever there's no clear-cut direction on whether you should do something or not do something, remain passive. That was his opinion. However, his student, Rabbi Masliach Mazuz, differed, and he said that since our houses are cleaned very well, we should put bread, since we are pretty sure that we won't find any hametz if we don't put any. And he says that's what became customary. But it went back and forth. So his rabbi answered back and said that it's more of a berakah levatala just to search for the 10 pieces and not to check the house than to not find any hametz. And then he applied the rule that the masses should be instructed based on the halakha, whatever we find in the poskim, in the shas, in the Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, not based on the teachings of the Mekubalim, meaning that the teachings of the Mekubalim are for people that are educated in Kabbalistic teachings, that understand them, that regularly practice them. It's not just to give out to everybody, people that are not knowledgeable in that area.
Why 10 and not 1?
So the Kubalim do a lot of things based on 10. They do a lot of things based on 10 because there's 10 sefirot. So even like the plate that we have on the night of Pesach. So there's 9 items on the plate. Together with the plate is 10. It's romez, it hints to the 10 sefirot. So they put 10 pieces of bread. So Rabbi Moshe Chavan HaKohen says not only is this something that's only for Mekubalim, when you give it to people that are not Mekubalim, then they become distracted and they're only focusing on the 10 pieces and they're not checking properly. So Rabbi Matzliach still responded, claiming that if the masses don't put the 10 pieces, they might not check at all, meaning that became the thing, and if they don't have that, they'll just walk around for 5 minutes and that will be the end of that. So in conclusion, we say one is not obligated to put 10 pieces. If you have the custom, of course maintain it, but make sure that you don't just look for the 10 pieces. Make sure you check the house properly, and also make sure that the pieces are small. If the pieces are less than an ounce, each piece is less than an ounce, and you can't find one, you don't have to worry, because when you make bitul hametz, you say kal hamira, you annul your ownership in the hametz, it becomes canceled out. But if you put big pieces and you can't find it, it becomes problematic. And you should also wrap the pieces so it doesn't get the house dirty again, so on and so forth. So again, if you have the custom, you have the custom. Hakam Yom Tov Yedid Alav Shalom didn't have the custom. I know from his children, his grandchildren, some of them are related to us, and they don't put 10 pieces. So now, on Ereb Pesah, there's a lot of halachot. We'll focus on the prohibition of eating matzah on Ereb Pesach. So when we say you can't eat matzah, we're speaking about matzah that's eligible to fulfill your obligation of eating matzah on the night of Pesach. So it's regular matzah. We're not talking about egg matzah. And the prohibition does not begin until the morning of Ereb Pesach, meaning Friday morning. So Thursday night, you want to take out your handmade Shemura matzah and have it for dinner Thursday night. There's no prohibition. I know there's other communities.
For a month.
Right, so some have a custom for 30 days, some for Rosh Chodesh Nisan. We don't have this custom. Our custom is based strictly on the law. The law is Ereb Pesah. So,
Would that mean night?
No, at night you could have regular matzah.
Friday means
Ereb Pesah means Friday morning. Dawn on Friday morning, the prohibition of eating regular matzah applies. Right. So, as we said, it's only matzah that you fulfill your obligation with. So, egg matzah is not included in the prohibition. One could eat egg matzah on Ereb Pesach. Chacham Yosef writes that one does not fulfill their obligation on the night of Pesach with fried matzah or with boiled matzah, and therefore he allows one to have fried or boiled matzah on Ereb Pesach. He says especially if you fry it or boil it before Ereb Pesach, but Ma'akar Adin, he's lenient even if you fry it or boil it on Ereb Pesach. And all of this, egg matzah, fried matzah, boiled matzah, this is only permitted according to Maran until the beginning of the 10th hour. So this year, that's 4:04, meaning a few minutes after 4 o'clock. After 4:04, according to Maran, a person should limit himself to modest quantities of fruits and vegetables so that he'll have an appetite when he eats the matzah mizvah later that night. Now, the question comes up, what about the Pesach cakes that they make from crushed matzah? Right? They take matzah, they crush it, they call it matzah meal, they make it into a flour. Then it's mixed with eggs, with sugar, with chocolate, and you bake it in the oven. So we said if matzah is, even a whole piece of matzah is fried or boiled, that takes it out of the category of matzah. But with regarding the cake, since it doesn't go in water, it doesn't go in oil, it's just baked in the oven, there's a difference of opinion amongst the authorities. Discussed this question in Magen Ba'adi because he said many people are accustomed to eat that type of cake for the Siyum Bechorot. So, and others criticize it. So he weighed in on, should we be stringent or can we be lenient? So he said, listen, those that have the custom have upon what to rely, because we make borei minei mezonot on these cakes, meaning we don't say that they have the form of matzah, the form of bread, but his personal opinion was to be stringent. So he said, even though those that have the custom, I could find something for them to rely on, yesh al ma lismoch, but in his opinion, when you have siyum bechorot, if you're having it early, so you could have hamess, If you're having it a little later, take egg matzah, or the equivalent of egg matzah is these different cakes and cookies that they make with actual Pesach flour, and then they instead of putting water, they put juice, they put grape juice, apple juice, eggs, things like that. So something that has either the status of Matzah Ashira, or if you're eating early, to eat actual hamess. But his opinion was to be stringent, but again, he allowed those that are lenient to rely on a leniency. Chacham Yosef is stringent. He's not lenient with that. He says that one should not have cakes made from matzah meal on Ereb Pesah. So this year, the first night of Pesach is Friday night. So according to Maran and Shulchan Aruch, Siman Taf Pezayin, when the first night of Pesach falls on Friday night, we do not recite the bediqat me'en Shebah. The bediqat me'en Shebah is a berakah that's recited every Friday night by the Hazan after the Salat Amidah. He says Vaikulu, then it goes into the bediqat me'en Shebah. So the bediqat me'en Shebah was instituted actually for the latecomers, meaning that there would be people that would come late on Friday night, and we didn't want them to walk home by themselves, because oftentimes the Beit Knesset was not in such a populated area, it was dangerous. And so that if we have a bediqat me'en Shebah, while the latecomers are catching up, we're listening to the bediqat me'en Shebah, and then everyone leaves together, and it's for the safety of those people that came late. However, the Torah tells us that the night of Pesach, the first night of Pesach, is Leil Shimurim. It's a night that Borei Olam watches over everyone. We're protected, so we're not worried about danger. And therefore, Rabbeinu Nisim Gaon, an earlier authority, wrote that it's not necessary to have bediqat me'en Shebah. And Maran ruled like this in Shulchan Aruch. And this was also the custom in Aram Soba. Was recorded by Chacham Abraham Antebi. Chacham Abraham Antebi was the chief rabbi of Halab in the early part of the 19th century for approximately 40 years. It's also recorded a little bit later by Chacham Abraham Hamway, who records many of our customs. And in their view, Chacham Abraham Antebi viewed this as also the opinion of the Arizal, the Yitzhak Luria, the master of Kabbalah. But there are many other Mikubalim that disagree, and they say no, that according to the Ari, you have to say bediqat me'en Shebah, and many Mikubalim do say bediqat me'en Shebah. However, our custom, as we said, is like Maran, like those rabbis from Halab, based on their understanding of the Ari. And again, that's also the opinion of Chacham Yosef, not to recite the bediqat me'en Shebah.
Ask you about me'en Shebah. How are you spelling that? Me'en?
Me'en with an ayin.
Me'en, but what does the bracha say?
The berakah is basically no. The berakah is basically a concise version of the Amidah. And the Amidah on Shabbat we have 7 berakot. This condenses one berakah, 7 berakot into one berakah. So it's summarized. So it's bediqat me'en Shebah. It's one berakah that's like 7 berakot. So it mentions, it touches on each one of the 7 berakot. Right. But the reason that they instituted was for the latecomers. So now, as we said, the first night of Pesach is Friday night. So that means that the second night obviously is going to be Saturday night. And when Pesach falls on Saturday night, or any Yom Tov falls on Saturday night, when you make Qiddush, and Habdalah together on 1 cup of wine. The Gemara gave us an acronym for the order of the berachot. Yakne has. So Yain, you make Borei Priya Kefin, like that's the way you normally start. Chof is Qiddush, again that's still the normal sequence. Mekadesh Yiseva Zemanim. But then instead of going to Zeman right away, Shahayanu, we say the Ner, Borei Meorei Ha'esh. And then you say Habdalah, the bediqat Habdalah, which is Hamabdil ben Kodesh, the Kodesh, since it's not Hol, right? So it's between the holiness of Shabbat and the holiness of Yom Tov. And then you conclude with Zeman, Shahayanu Mekimenu Megano, that Zeman has. So that's Yakneha. So since you're going to have to make Meorei Ha'esh prior to starting Qiddush, you have to prepare a candle. So you can't light a new candle on Yom Tov. So you light a candle from an existing flame, and you bring it to the table so it's ready. In the midst of the Qiddush, you're going to make Borei Meorei Ha'esh. And of course, when you conclude, since it's Yom Tov, you can't extinguish the candle, so you have to carefully take it away so that it doesn't go out. So now, what happens if you forget, right? You make every year you have Qiddush on Pesach, you have Yain, Qiddush, and Zeman, and let's say that's what you did. You didn't realize that it was Saturday night, and then after you already finished Shahayanu, you realize that you didn't make Habdalah. So Chal writes that if you remember before Karpas, since there's a law that applies to every Saturday night, you don't eat or drink before you make Habdalah, so you shouldn't go and have the Karpas without having made Habdalah. So you take another cup of wine. No need to repeat Borei Priya Gefen since you already made Borei Priya Gefen on the first cup. And you could make, holding the cup of wine, you make Borei Meoreh Ha'esh, you make Hamavdil and Kodesh Kodesh, and you drink the wine, and then you go on and you make Karpas, you continue with the Haggadah. But after the Karpas, you already had Karpas, so you could wait for Habdalah until the second cup of wine. Meaning you can make it all on the second cup. But Meoreh Ha'esh you should make before you read Magid. Since you're reading the Haggadah and you're benefiting from light, it's proper to make Meoreh Ha'esh prior to reading the Magid. And then when you get up to Asher Ge'alanu, that's the bediqat that you make before the one you drink, right before you drink the second cup. So you say Ga'al Yisrael, then you say Hamavdil ben Kodesh to Kodesh, and then you drink the cup of wine. And if you hadn't made Meoreh Ha'esh prior, you can make Ga'al Yisrael, Borei Meoreh Ha'esh, Hamavdil ben Kodesh to Kodesh, and then drink the wine. If you didn't do it on the second cup, you could do it on the third cup, as long as after you say the bediqat that you need for that cup, and the third cup's Borei Priya Gefen.
Come to my house, but you just do it all for me because I'm so confused.
Or you can make it on the fourth cup. After you
Bring
say the
around
bediqat Hallel, you make Hamavdil ben Kodesh to Kodesh, and you drink the wine. If you have to make the ned, you make the ned, and then you drink the wine.
That's the only thing.
Now, Kavya writes that if you remember it after the second cup, you shouldn't wait till the third cup because you're going to be eating. So you should do it on a separate cup of wine, before you eat. But if you're already at the third cup, you make it on the third cup, or as we said, on the fourth cup. Let's say you finished all the cups, you finished the Haggadah, you could still make Habdalah until dawn. So you take another cup of wine, you make Borei Priya Gefen, Meoreh Ha'esh, Hamavdil ben Kodesh Kodesh, and you drink the wine. Right, so meaning that you have to make Habdalah that night. The easiest way is to do it at the beginning, the way Hakamim instituted it as part of Kaddish. So last year we discussed Maror and Korekh, and we spoke about the fact that on the plate there, we set up the plate based on the teachings of the Arizal. So we have two types of lettuce. One is romaine lettuce, and then there's a second lettuce, and that second lettuce, exactly what it is, depends on the custom of the family. Some use escarole, some use chicory, and halab, as we're going to discuss soon, many used green butter lettuce. I'll get more into how I found that many use green butter lettuce. But in any case, there's a second lettuce. Really, according to the Gemara and the Poskim, you have one kind of lettuce, but because the Mekubalim wanted to get to the number 10, so there's 9 items together with the plate is 10, so they added an extra type of lettuce. Now, last year we spoke about the halabi custom, and we said that the halabi custom is that make ala chilat maror on romaine lettuce, and then when you have korekh, when you have the sandwich, to mix the two lettuces that you have, the romaine with your other customary lettuce, whatever your custom is, and to have that for korekh. But the truth is, although many halabi families have that custom, there is more than one custom amongst halabi families with regards to which lettuces to use. So if you go back to the book Shulchan HaMelech was written by Rabbi Shmuel Lanyado, talking about the early 19th century. So Rabbi Shmuel Lanyado was a son-in-law of Rabbi Rafael Shlomo Lanyado. Rabbi Rafael Shlomo Lanyado was the author of the book Bet Dino Shel Shlomo, and he was from a direct line of Lanyado chief rabbis in Halab, meaning that in the 16th century, the community of Halab sent a letter to Rabbi Yosef Karo, the author of Shulchan Aruch, that we refer to as Maran, and they invited Maran himself to come be the chief rabbi of Halab. So Maran sent a letter back stating that he himself is not able to come, but he's going to send them somebody like himself. And he sent them Rabbi Shmuel Lanyado. This was the first Lanyado chief rabbi in Halab. And from that time until the early 1800s, there was a direct line, father, son, a direct line of Lanyado chief rabbis. The last one was the son of Rabbi Rafael Shlomo, that was Rabbi Ephraim Lanyado. And then after Rabbi Ephraim Lanyado, eventually Hakam Abraham Antebi became who we mentioned earlier, became the next chief rabbi. So Rabbi Shlomo Laniado's son-in-law authored Shulchan HaMelech, which was an abridged version of Shulchan Aruch, what people call a Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. So this was the one in Halab. So when he talks about Maror, he says that his father-in-law used kabus. So when I discovered that, I wanted to find out what kabus is. It's a type of lettuce in Arabic. I asked many people, they didn't know. But eventually I asked Hakam Leon Gindi. Hakam Leon Gindi is in Sha'ar Tzion. He's the son-in-law of Hakam Yedid. And he says, yes, he used it for Maror in Halab. And he said that they buy it over here. They don't really use it for Maror anymore over here, but they buy it. He has it in the house. And he looked at the package and he told me it's green butter lettuce. So that was what Hakam Rafael Shlomo Laniado used for al achilat maror. I mean, he didn't use the romaine lettuce. He used that for maror, the secondary lettuce. This is really based on the teachings of the Arizal. The Arizal says to leave the romaine lettuce for the sandwich, and that was the custom in Egypt. The Egyptian custom is to make al achilat maror on the other lettuce. So we see that was a custom in Egypt. There was a custom of Arizal, and there was the custom of Rabbi Shlomo Laniado. So not all Halabi families made al achilat maror on romaine lettuce. Some made it on the other lettuce. Many mix it. If you look in Hazon Obadiah, Hakam Obadiah Yosef's book on Hilchot Pesach, so there's an introduction from Hakam Azra'ati. That was Hakam Obadiah's teacher. He was the Rosh Yeshiva Purat Yosef. He was born in Halab, and he writes that the custom of Halab and Damascus is to take both lettuces together and say al achilat maror, meaning the romaine together with the other lettuce. So that according to him, that was the custom of Halab and Damascus. So we know that there are many families based on the teachings of Shulchan Aruch. Maran wants you to make al achilat maror on the romaine, and many follow Maran. Others, based on the Ari, would make it on the second lettuce. And we see Hakam Azra'ati saying that the custom is to make it on both. So we see three different customs as to what to do for al achilat maror, whether you make it on the romaine, whether you make it on the other lettuce, or you take both together. But it seems very common amongst the Halabi sources that you mix the two lettuces for korekh. And another source of taking both together is actually Hakam Yishak Shahebar, who was also another contemporary of Hakam Yedid, another student of Hakam Moshe Tawil. He also writes, he has a Kitzur Dinim for Pesach, and he writes that they would make al achilat maror on both. So really, whatever the family custom is, it's valid. Maran prefers to make it on the romaine, but there are other customs as well. Do we have any questions? Any other subjects we could... Okay. School Shem and Abot. Now we'll get to Beth.
No.